What's good, everybody? It's the Cloud with Cap Show. UFC 286 was iconic. Shout out to the current champion, Leon Edwards. He maintains his championship belt against Kamaru Usman, which I am really surprised. I went Usman in this fight. I thought he'd take it to the ground. I thought he would utilize his ground and pound, but really Usman just didn't look hungry. He looked tired. He looked fatigued in the whole fight. And hats off to Leon Edwards. Anyone that thinks Usman won and deserved to win, I'm thinking, what fight did you watch? I mean, what made you think that Kamaru Usman really single-handedly won this fight against Leon? It was more Leon was hitting the better strikes. He hit way more leg kicks than Kamaru Usman, and Usman really couldn't get Leon down. Yeah, he held him against the cage for a while, but at the end of the day, Leon was the clear champion. To become a champion, we know Usman was already champion. He lost it. To regain your belt back again, you have to win, decisively. And Usman, he just was not there. I don't know if Usman has anything left in the gas tank. I don't know if Usman has that fire anymore, because a lot of his shots that he was throwing at Leon Edwards, it was just like, dude, like, it wasn't even hard. It was like there was no, ambition in any of his throws, any of his hooks, his straight right just did not look the same. It looked like, Kamaru Usman might be on roids or something, and that might have caught up with them. I don't know. It was just one of them things where I've never seen Kamaru Usman look this terrible in a fight. Usman has always been dominant from start to finish. He's been the alpha. He's been the one that's walking him down the whole time. But I just think Usman, man, he just did not look the same. I don't know what it was, but for me to bet on Usman, I was definitely comfortable with that. Even though it was in London, a home field advantage for Leon, I don't care. I still thought Usman was the better fighter. And then I saw him, and I was just like, dude, Usman just did not look good. He looked fatigued, man. It looked like he didn't want to be there. It looked like he just wanted to show up for a paycheck, and that's that. I'm thinking how. But Leon Edwards, man, I mean, against all odds, he's 21-3, won no contest in the UFC right now. Kamaru Usman's 20-3 now. I'm looking at Leon Edwards and saying, wow, he's the middleweight champion, and he's the current champion. He defended his belt once. He succeeded against Kamaru Usman. What's next for Leon Edwards? And I think, we saw Colby Covington ringside. I think, that makes sense for me. Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington for business-wise for the UFC, why not? And a lot of people are, even Leon was like, that fight doesn't make sense. He wants to fight Masvidal, which I do think that fight does make sense, right? Leon Edwards and Masvidal, we understand the history of their past. We remember it. I think this was Masvidal. I think this was back in 2019 in London. Masvidal won this fight by knockout, and there was some chirping going on. The Masvidal backstage with Leon, he really throws a combination at him, in the back, with everybody watching, and we saw Leon bloodied up. So I definitely know Leon wants to fight Jorge Masvidal in the future. Absolutely. We know he's in that card at UFC 287 in Miami, Florida, where Jorge Masvidal's from. He's fighting Gilbert Burns. That's going to be great. Who knows what the outcome of that fight's going to be. But I think if Jorge Masvidal wins that fight, who knows? He might get his boy Leon back. But Leon does not want to fight Colby Covington. One thing about Colby is he's a wrestler. He's going to find ways to take you down. We even saw him take down Usman in that second fight. I believe it was in the third or fourth round. He took him down. And I'm thinking, hey, that's just part of the fight game. You got to have to learn to utilize your takedown defense. And we saw Leon do great against Usman. But Colby Covington, he's hungry. I can't wait for this fight. I think the UFC is going to do this fight probably in July or August. That would make sense for me. We haven't seen Colby Covington for about a year now since Jorge Masvidal's fight. He dominated that fight all 5 rounds, clearly. But I think for Leon Edwards, man, a lot of people doubted him, and I bet against him yesterday. And I'm over here thinking, wow, dude, why did I bet against Leon? I thought for sure Usman was going to squeak out this win in a 5-round bout. I thought this fight was going to go down on the ground. But I just think for Usman, man, it did not look the same. If I could look at Usman right now, I would compare it to how Tyron Woodley looked when they first fought, when Usman first fought Woodley for the belt, I think back in 2017 time. Somewhere around there, we know that, Woodley was the hunger was gone, and Woodley was the champion then. And now all of a sudden, Usman lost his belt, and he's kind of like, I don't know, maybe he's on his way out of the UFC. I don't want to give up on Kamaru Usman, but it's just like one of the things where it's like, I didn't see the hunger, I didn't see the passion, I didn't see the love of fighting when he fought Leon Edwards the last night. I just didn't. I didn't see that compassion. It was just like, dude, where is Kamaru Usman at? I didn't see any of the explosive power in his punches. I didn't see any of great takedowns that Kamaru Usman normally used to do. It just wasn't there. And I'm looking at Usman and saying, dude, maybe the hunger's gone. You know, he lived out the American dream. Maybe the hunger isn't there anymore for Usman. Who knows? I think what's next for Kamaru Usman is get back in the win column now. You know, you got head kicked, knocked out, about a couple months ago. Then all of a sudden you lost again to the same guy who beat you again. And it's just like, I don't know. I don't know what's next, but I do know what's next for Leon Edwards. He's going to fight Colby Covington. I think that the UFC is going to do this. I think Dana White's going to do this. I think it makes sense. For money-wise, business-wise, it makes sense. Colby Covington, one of the biggest draws right now, and I think that would be an amazing fight. And Colby's hungry, and yeah, I still think he's still evolving as a fighter, so I can't wait for that matchup. I think we're going to see that fight. It makes sense for me. I hope they do it, but shout out to Leon Edwards, and still the champion to this day, man, against all odds. Who would have thought, he came into this fight plus 210. That would have been a crazy parlay. It bet on Leon Edwards and Justin Gaethje. It was amazing. And speaking of Justin Gaethje, my bet hit on that. It felt great. I told you guys to go heavy on Justin Gaethje. He was plus 195. Even at one moment, he was plus 200. Gaethje. And I think even the live odds was just like crazy, dude. But I think Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev, what a fight it was. And this guy, Rafael, man, he is going to be legit. He's still young. He's only fought like 14 MMA fights. And I'm thinking this guy is a dog, dude. And I think if Rafael did not get fatigued in the last 4 minutes of that fight in the third round, I think he takes his fight against Justin Gaethje. But, that's why I picked Justin Gaethje, the experience. All the champions he's fought prior to this fight. That's why I went Justin Gaethje. And I didn't understand how Justin Gaethje's the underdog. Yes, the speed was a factor in the first 2 rounds. But when that third round came out, and Rafael hit him with that knee, kind of dazed Gaethje a little bit. And I was like, oh my gosh, no way, this cannot happen. But Justin Gaethje battled back, and that's what Heart of a Lion does. And Gaethje, man, he hit him with some big shots. He was bloodied up, man, and this was fight of the night yet again. Shout out to Justin Gaethje. There's so many fights with Justin Gaethje that's been fight of the night. The Michael Chandler fight, and I think that was even a better fight than this Rafael fight. I really do. I think the Chandler Gaethje was just an insane fight, gladiator fight. But Justin Gaethje, man, he's been in the trenches. He knows that. He's the top dog. He wants a rematch against Charles Oliveira. I think if I'm Dana White in the UFC, I think Justin Gaethje deserves it. Absolutely, dude. He's in the top 3. He won this fight, and he was a dog in this fight. Both dogs in the co-main event and the main event won, dude. I love that. I love the underdog story. I'm always typically rooting for the underdog, even though I picked Usman on this card. I love Gaethje, man. That was my lock pick, dude. I said Gaethje's the underdog. Go Gaethje, dude. This guy's not really a wrestler, Rafael. He wants to stand and bang, and it was amazing. And we saw Gaethje. I think what really sealed Gaethje at the end was his flurry, his last minute, really bloody Rafael up, and then he eventually took him down, got that last second takedown, which was huge in this fight. And I think Gaethje could have went for the takedown in the second round as well. But for Gaethje, man, this was a huge fight, and I think he's going to get it back. I think he's going to get another title shot. I really do. Shout out to Gaethje, man. This card was great. Even though I do think that UFC 287 is going to be even more better than this fight. You got Ezra Adesanya versus Alex Pereira, that rematch. Then Jorge Masvidal versus Gilbert Burns in Miami, South Beach. That's going to be crazy. That's going to be the crazy card. But I think this card it was great. In London, different time change definitely here in America. But I think, for Leon Edwards to pull out this win here decisively, and I think after the first round, when we watched that first round, it was just like, wow, Leon's coming out sharp. I thought for sure, Kamaru Usman would, really win by knockout or something, come out fast. But no, after the first round, I was thinking, wow, Kamaru Usman's going to lose this fight. He's just not hungry enough. I don't know. It just wasn't there. The mojo, the vibes weren't there. It just wasn't there. It was like he was fatigued the whole fight. It was like he just ran like a marathon into this fight, and it was just not the same. I'm just like, dude, what is going on? Why is Kamaru Usman already tired in this fight? I don't understand it. I don't, but shout out to Leon Edwards. All credit is due to Leon Edwards, man. A lot of people kind of wrote him off. You know, even back in 2019, Jorge Masvidal says he's a loser at live. Now all of a sudden he's the champion. You know, a lot of people wanted to deny him and be like, I never heard of Leon Edwards. Well, he's the middleweight champion now. Okay, so people who do not know Leon Edwards, you do now. He is the champion. Okay, like he's the top dog right now. So who's going to defeat him? It can't be Kamaru Usman. I do think Colby Covington makes sense. You know, Colby Covington, man, he's a dog. He's a wrestler, and he's getting only better at his striking. I think he beats Leon Edwards. I do. I hope they match up in August or September time. I really do, or even July. So somewhere around that time. But Colby Covington's definitely in this mix, and I think you know, Chimaev, he wants to get in this mix too. I think Chimaev versus Colby would be an insane fight as well. Two great wrestlers, dude. I mean, both hungry, both in their prime. So I think that'd be great as well if the UFC does that. But even Colby said, Chimaev came in overweight, not a true professional. I thought it was a game. This is a business here. This is for real. And I look at Colby and say, I agree. Chimaev came in overweight against Nate Diaz, like 8 pounds overweight. It's like, dude, you can't do that. Like, you're a young gun in the UFC. You can't make some of these silly mistakes. So if anyone deserves another title shot, it is Colby Covington. And I understand he has lost to Kamaru Usman twice. And we could arguably say, that second fight, he won rounds 3, 4, and 5. I mean, we could arguably say that. Yes, he clearly lost round 2 with the drop it, with Kamaru Usman dropping Colby. But we could arguably say he won 3, 4, and 5 decisively. So I think, that's there. Colby Covington versus Leon Edwards. It makes sense to me. I cannot wait for that fight. Shout out to Leon Edwards. Shout out to Justin Gaethje. I told you guys to go heavy on Gaethje. That hit, it feels so good. But UFC 286 was amazing. I can't wait till UFC 287. It's the Clouded with Cam show. Let's go!